Oh boy, good morning. It is Monday, February 20th, 2023. Welcome back to the corner. My name is Leigh. I'm coming at you here from Pittsburgh, PA today. And it is an overcast, gloomy kind of day, wintry day, but it's not that cold today. It's only like moderately chilly, which is, you know, fine. I guess it has been the most mild winter yet that I've experienced here in Pittsburgh. It's almost like a South Carolina winter here this year. Really bizarre. But anyways, this is a podcast, a video podcast, where I talk about crafty things, whatever I happen to be making at the time, and just hanging out. I love just hanging out with y'all, talking about what I've been up to. And I also love hearing what you've been up to. So it's just a great time here. Welcome. I have a couple of finished objects today. I have lots of whips, and I'm wearing a hand knit, which I don't often do because normally on days I film, I'm not leaving the house, so I'm usually just in my pajamas. But I am wearing my Any Day sweater, which is a pattern by Lily France. It's got a super dramatic puff sleeve, and it's like my comfy lounge around the house sweater. It is knit out of Knit Picks Billow, which is a 100% bulky cotton yarn. It's a little bit thick and thin, and it's super soft. I love cotton sweaters, honestly. I have a few of them. Let me show you without flashing you my tummy, because I'm not wearing high-waisted shorts, and this is a crop sweater. But it's got a faux seam detail here. It's got this seam detail here and around the cuff and also on the arm. But you can see it's a reverse stockinette with these fun seam details. Oh, and around this as well. It's super comfy, super cozy, and it fits perfectly now. It's got a nice open neckline, very cozy. But when I knit it, it was way too big. This was one of the earlier sweaters I knit. I actually went back to look, and I don't think I even made a project page for it. I need to do that. But this is one of the first sweaters I finished for myself that like is a proper finished object, you know? And it was so big I didn't wear it for a really long time. And finally I bit the bullet and I put this baby in the dryer. So she's been in the dryer, she survived, and now I wear her all the time. And that's that. That's enough about my Any Day sweater. I guess we'll start with finished objects. My hair is parted strangely today, but we cannot be bothered. I'm a little bit on edge right now because I just applied to a job that I like really want, and fingers crossed I hear back, because I've been trying to decide what I want to be when I grow up, and I think I may have like kind of an idea, but I'll talk about that at the end of the episode, because if you're not here for the personal stuff, we'll do all the knitting and crafting at the beginning. There's a little bit of sewing today, and then I'll do the personal stuff at the end. So let's just get started with finished objects. The first finished object I have is not physically here, but I will try to put a picture here of, I don't have a picture of the finished pair. What's today? Monday? Maybe I can text somebody and get a picture of the finished pair before this video goes up. I have finished my shop sample socks for the yarn shop out of the Lina de Nord self-striping sock yarn. I left it over there. Never mind. I'm not going to show you the ball of yarn. I still have the ball of yarn because I kept the leftovers, and I do have enough to knit myself a pair at some point. But they turned out so cute. They're just a vanilla sock with a fish lips kiss heel, and they are knit out of the color 80, which is called Muted Rainbow, and I love how they turned out. So those will not live with me. Those are going to live at the yarn shop, and I have just been busy with yarn shop samples this past week, as you are about to see here coming up. But yeah, that's my first finished object. I finished those pretty quickly because I did the size small, 56 stitch sock, because I didn't need them to fit me since they're just samples. And I obviously didn't bother matching them, as you can see in the photo. I just immediately went into the next sock, and I love that both socks together are just one big gradient. I think it's great. That's all I'll say about that one. The next finished object I have is the only other finished object I have. But this finished object is actually two things, and these are also shop samples. I have been influenced by my friend Kim, who is over at the Sip Sip Knit podcast. She has a channel here on YouTube, and I will link her below if you are unfamiliar with her. But we're friends in real life also, and she's been knitting Soho Scrunchies, which is a pattern by Tori Knits. She is Tori Knits NYC on Instagram, and I was influenced by Kim to knit a couple of scrunchies for the shop. And I finished 2 of them. I love them, they're so cute. Now, this pattern is written to, it's a free pattern, which is great, but it is written to use up scraps, and I think it's written to use a fingering and a mohair held double, which is what I did for the first scrunchie sample I finished. This is the Malabrigo sock in the color Gingy that I used for my Bond Weave shop samples. And I held it together with Barocco Ariel mohair in the color Birch. And I love how this fabric turned out. Neither of these have been washed, by the way. The pattern calls for you to use like a regular hair tie in there, and I used hair ties without any metal closures so that I can wash these without anything rusting in there. But yeah, this is my first one. It is a fingering and a mohair held double. I just love the color of this. But it's very neutral, and then I decided I needed to do a brightly colored one, but since it's a shop sample, I have to use yarns that are available at the shop. And I had some extra hedgehog fibers sitting around. This is Hedgehog Fibers Skinny Singles in the color Guppy, and we do have some of this yarn available at the shop right now. But I held this double because Skinny Singles are, like a single ply yarn is a lighter fingering normally than a plied yarn. And it came out a little denser, but I haven't washed it yet either. But I think it'll be just fine, especially for a shop sample. And then I'm gonna do a third one as well. Look at those colors, they're so good. I used this color in a shawl and I love it. It's so beautiful. And then the third sample I'm gonna do, oh, it's here. I'm gonna do a sport weight held single in this Woolfolk yarn. This is Woolfolk Fleck. And I think a white tweedy scrunchie is gonna be super cool. But I knit a hat out of this and I'm gonna make a scrunchie. And those 3 will be my scrunchies. But these 2 are done. I finished them both. I finished like 1 a day over the weekend. So pretty quick. And that's all I have for finished objects. Dang, just dissociated for a minute. All right, now let's go into whips. Let's start with the 2 that you've seen before. I've only really worked on 2 things. And the first one is in my egg bag. And this is one that you have seen before, but not in a while. Picked up a lingering whip. This is the Vintage 83 Crop by Andrea Mowry. And it is a just cropped t-shirt style. Pardon the print quality of this. I was running out of ink when I printed it. But it's just like a cropped t-shirt with a brioche yoke detail. And I finally picked this up again so that I could start working on it. I felt like it and decided that I wanted to get some work done on it and maybe get it done here real soon. And I picked it up yesterday, and in the one day I knit about 2 inches, but this is my vintage 83. Ooh. It's looking, it's very soft and very squishy. This fabric is very plump because it's got the brioche yoke, which uses a suri as the contrast color. And then it's got a slip stitch texture for the rest of the body. And I finished one sleeve because I figured I wanted to go ahead and get one done. Haven't finished the second sleeve. And I'm on the body. And then yesterday, this is how much I got done from that marker down. How much I got done yesterday. It is a cropped tee, so she says to knit it to like 7 inches before starting the ribbing. I might give it an extra ½ an inch or so. I'm not sure. I'll try it on and see how I feel. This fabric, though it is out of superwash yarn, it will not grow all that much because of the stitch texture. It's just not in its nature to grow. That is slip stitches for you. That is the thing I worked on. So this is knit out of Coast to Coast Yarn Co. I have a skein here. Coast to Coast Yarn Co. This is Deep Stash, so it's her old label. Her 100% superwash merino fingering weight yarn in the color Button for the main color. And then the 3 contrast colors are all Farmer's Daughter Fibers Oh Dang. It is a Surrey alpaca silk blend yarn. And the colors I'm using for those are Dirty Little Dandelion, Union Street State of Mind, and then Salmon Berry. And this is going to look so good when it's blocked out. I'm so excited. It matches the color of the sweater I'm wearing. Gorgeous. So I'm excited to get this one done. Hopefully I can get another inch or so done today. And I might sit down and figure out how many inches or whatever I have left to finish this. And then write out like a calendar schedule for finishing this. See how many days it'll take me to finish it up. Maybe it'll be done by the time I film again. I don't know. I do have lots of knitting time this week. I'll get to that in personal stuff. The other whip I have that you have seen before is in my junk yarn Barbie bag. And this is my test knit from Hannah of Herb Garden Knitwear. I think I was about halfway up the body last week when I showed you this, and I have definitely got some good progress done on it since then. This is the Chainmail, which is a vest, a really cute textured vest. And like I said, it is a test knit, so the pattern is not out quite yet. Be sure to follow Hannah if you want an update on the pattern release. It should be out like maybe at the end of March, I think. Beginning of April-ish. I'm not sure. Since you saw it last, this is it. I have separated the front and back, and I have knit up the front all the way to where I'm supposed to start my neckline shaping. It flies. Once you separate the front and back, it really starts to fly. Everything is like, the sections are small, so it's like, oh, I just want to get to the next one, you know? So that is where I am on that. This is a gorgeous pattern. It is knit out of Hawari Bazaar Co. in her like normal sock base, which is a 75% merino, 25% nylon. Hannah does recommend a non-superwash yarn for this pattern, but I got gauged perfectly with the superwash. Yeah, it's held single for the ribbing and the welts, and then it is held double for the seed stitch body, so you don't have to worry about knitting a million stitches around in seed stitch. Amazing. Super clever construction. I love the idea of changing gauges in the pattern. It's so clever, so thoughtfully done, so size inclusive. highly recommend Hannah's patterns. They're so good. And keep an eye for this one when it comes out. This is gonna be great for overdresses or just with jeans. I think I like to wear vests as tank tops, so that is that one. It's going. I'm trucking along. The next whip I have to show you is the only other one that I've been knitting on. I have one more whip, but it's not knitting. And this one is a new cast on. This is also a shop sample. Wow. This shop sample is the My Little Secret crop from Jessie Mae Martinson, Jessie Mae Designs. And it is just a tiny little tank top, DK weight, ribbed tank top. And I am knitting this out of Woolfolk Stray. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's the S-T-R-A with a little accent mark over the A. And it is a merino linen blend. And I don't remember what color this is. And I don't know where I put the tag. I think I stuck the tag in another bag. This is what I'm knitting this top out of, which is very interesting. It's very interesting how it's turning out. But I have this on 16-inch circulars, and I'm knitting the smallest size, which is an extra small. Actual measurement of finished garment unstretched is 24 inches. This garment is supposed to have a lot of negative ease, but since it's just a sample, I'm just knitting the smallest size. And I am about halfway up the body. It's the size of a hat. It's so small. Now I know it is on 16-inch circulars, so it looks, and it's ribbed, so it looks way smaller than it will finished. But still, oh my gosh. This is what it looks like. Not a whole lot to look at yet. But there it is. That's my little secret crop. If I like it, maybe I'll knit myself one. So yeah, I'm just cranking out shop samples. We just have some gaps in our samples that I felt like needed filled. So needed some fun stuff like scrunchies and crops and rainbow socks. So I'm taking it upon myself to fill in those gaps. I'm surprised I don't have any socks to show you, but the socks that I was working on were my finished object, so I have been trying to work through some of my sock whips. I still have to do the second sock on a couple of pairs, but I haven't picked them up. All right, the only other whip I have to show you is a sewing whip. But then I also want to talk to you about a future cast on that I have planned. My sewing whip is I finally got the gumption to start putting together my Hinterland dress. Now, I've had this cut for a very long time, but here is how far I got actually sewing it together. Finally coming together. Stuck. I have sleeves. I have a finished neckband. Look at the finish on that. I'm pretty proud of that. I haven't finished my inside sleeve, my inside arm size yet, but it's looking so good. I have finished, yes, both of the sleeves are finished except for finishing the arm side. We have waist straps, waist ties, there we go, attached. The only thing I have left for the top, the bodice of this dress, is the plackets. So I think I might actually get my act together and do a little bit of sewing today and put some plackets on. And then it's Skirt City. Now, the thing about this is I cut these pieces and planned this dress. Look at those darts. when I was a little bit smaller. I have gained a little bit of weight back over these past few months because of stress. So this doesn't actually fit me right now. So it's a little bit of motivation to get back to where I was. But I'm also using it as like, I'm learning so much. I'm sewing an entire dress. So yeah, I want to wear this fabric. This is a beautiful yarn dyed linen from Burnley and Trowbridge. I tend to go all out when I buy like garment quantities of fabric. I tend to buy really nice stuff. And this is, it's got white and orange stripes on this natural taupey background. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I got beautiful orange buttons to go down the front placket. I want to wear this dress so badly. But yeah, that's the other whip I've been working on. I'm so excited. The waist ties need a little bit of improving next time. They're not super tidy, but they're good enough. The whole thing is good enough. I'm actually really proud of how it's going. I'm really proud of the sleeves. I managed to ease them into the armhole without any crinkles and wrinkles. And I'm really proud of myself. So that is my last whip, a sewing whip. The last thing I want to show you is my plans for a fragmentation shawl. That's right. I don't have a shawl on the needles right now, which means I kind of want one. And Stephen West came out with his new pattern, the Fragmentation Shawl. And I was struck by how much I liked it. It is super cool. A very, very interesting design. It's modular, which is one of the things I don't like about knitting shawls, is that I usually get bored of them like a third of the way through, because they just get bigger and bigger and the rows get bigger and bigger and I get bored. So Stephen West does a lot of modular stuff in his designs, and that's why I've been able to finish his mystery knit-alongs in the fall, is because they're so modular, so they keep me interested and the actual row length isn't as long. This is a similar vibe. So it is modular. It's got 7 colors and you knit each wedge separately, which is super cool. And I decided I was going to stash dive and see what I could find. I didn't know if I'd have 7 colors that went together until I remembered that I have the entire Mush Club collection from 2 years ago, 2021, I think. Coast to Coast Yarn Co. did a Mush Club where she released a mushroom themed yarn every month for the entire year. And at the beginning of the year, I signed up for the entire year. So every month I got a Mush Club yarn, and I got the MCN base, which is merino cashmere nylon, which isn't ideal for socks for me. I don't really want to knit socks out of yarn that has cashmere in it. I could, I just don't want to. So all 12 colors have been sitting in my stash for over a year now. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna pull those out and see if I can come up with a combo for the Fragmentation Shawl. And I did. Let me show you. But I have these 7 colors that I think I'm going to use for my Fragmentation Shawl. Now 2 of these have a different label because she changed her labels during that year. So the first few months have her brown label, and then after that she changed to her new label. So that's kind of cool to see. But these are the 7 colors I'm thinking about. We have Understory, Foraging Gold. This one's one of my favorites. Foraging Gold. Gymnopolis. Then Letoporus, or Letoporus. Letoporus. I don't know how to pronounce. These are mushrooms. I don't know how to pronounce them very well. Amethyst Deceiver, which is the oddball of the group, I think. I didn't originally have this color in there, But then I looked at it and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna use this color for anything else because a royal purple isn't really like normally my jam. So using it in a shawl like this with so many other colors, I think would be an ideal situation. But then when I pulled it out and I stuck it in with these, I was like, oh yes, that is great. Then there is Shiitake. And then the final color is Polypore, which I think this was the first one. Yeah, this was the first color. So we have a light, a dark, and then so many beautiful colors. And I think I'm gonna do them in this order so that it looks kind of like a rainbow. So that's my cast on plan. I would like to finish something first. I know, isn't that always the way it goes? I always say I would like to finish something first. But for real, I have these shop samples that I would like to finish this week and just get them over with. And if I can finish both of these, I have one more scrunchie and then my tank top. If I can finish both of those, I'm gonna cast on my shawl. That's gonna be my reward for getting my shop samples done. Getting anything else done will just be a bonus. So I'll probably start my next scrunchie today, just so that I can have it going. See how far I can get on that this evening. Probably be able to finish it. All right, that's it for whips. That's all I got for whips and one bonus cast on plan. But let's talk about, what was I gonna talk about? I said I was gonna talk about, oh, a job that I applied to. What I wanna be when I grow up. So as you know, I am a full-time illustrator and I love it, but owning your own business and working freelance full-time it comes with its own set of challenges. And I've been toying over the past couple of months with the idea of going back to an office job. Now, I have been toying with the idea in the truest sense of the word because I am not sure I want to do it or not, but I've been thinking about what jobs I've had in the past and what about them I've liked and what about them I've not liked. If you don't know, before I went full-time as an illustrator, I was a commercial graphic designer. I worked in offices doing graphic design work for businesses, once for a nonprofit and once for a conglomerate, and once for a sign shop, like a wide variety of things, but all graphic design. Though I went to school for visual communications, it was both design and art school, if that makes sense. Yeah, I didn't set out to be a graphic designer when I graduated college. It just happened that way. So I've been kind of toying with the idea of going back into the graphic design field and doing that again. But I also worked for a time as a graphic designer at a museum, and one of my favorite things about that job was, it was one of my favorite jobs as far as the work goes. And I think my favorite thing about it was working at a museum. I am a big history buff and I am a big art appreciator, so both of those things, they just work out to a museum environment, to support a museum environment. I love museums. And I think I might like to get into that again, like get back into a museum. So I've been kind of toying with that. I applied this morning to work at a museum and we'll see how it goes. I think that it would be a great fit for me and I think I would be a great fit for it, but I don't know if they feel the same way. So ain't that the way it goes. So if I can work out getting back into museums, I think I might definitely try to do that again. Otherwise, I might not. I might keep illustrating for my main job. We're figuring things out. Life is a roller coaster. So anyways, this channel isn't going anywhere. This is now and will remain my hobby and thing I do for fun. So knitting and crafting is not going anywhere. I promise. What was the other thing I said I was going to talk about? I don't remember. I really don't. Well, I guess that's it for today then. I have to do some stuff. I'm gonna get on with my day. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this little run through of what I've been working on. It's been very exciting getting into the whole sewing thing more. It's been so much fun, so much fun. and I will see y'all next time.